Trying to go fast. Today we're going to decipher the difference between the single layer and the multi-layer steel head gasket for the legendary 2JZ GTE engine. Let's go. Why are there two different head gaskets? Why would you want to change a head gasket? Well, if you want to change the compression ratio, of course you would change the head gasket. That can change the compression ratio by itself, but that's not the best way to change compression ratio. I mean, people do it, but there's other ways to do it as well. Other things to do in addition to just changing a gasket for compression ratio. One thing you have to be careful with changing the gasket is if the gasket's too thin, then your piston will have an issue, maybe. Past top dead center, it actually might hit your cylinder head. So, I mean, if you hit your cylinder head, bam, bad things can happen. So you need to make sure that you put a head gasket in there that gives you enough clearance that your piston doesn't hit the cylinder head. Because if it hits the bottom of the cylinder head, you're going to have issues, folks. Big ones. This is the single layer steel gasket. First, you're going to find this on a lot of NA 2J motors. And, it doesn't have to be that thick for various reasons. Of course, one reason being there's no boost on the NA. There's no boost. You don't need a real thick gasket because you're not going to blow the gasket out. It's fine. But with the boosted engines, you need a little bit thicker gasket. So in comes the multi-layer steel head gasket. This came on, this is the OEM spec. This gasket came on the boosted 2J motors, 2JZ GTE. So, yeah, let's take a look at these. We're going to get these open, and we're going to do some good comparisons to see what the difference is. And, that's what we got to do. I mean, this is much heavier. So let's just start there. The weight. This one is much heavier than this one. Of course, the single layers, multi-layer, you can hear the difference in the name. And, of course, there would be a weight difference as well. And there is. So, let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get to this without messing up the gasket itself. All right, so we're still in the packaging. Get this open here. All right, so if you listen, it is definitely metal. It is really thin. If you see here, look at that. It's almost thin as a razor, man. Razor thin. If you hear that, it's really nothing to it. I don't know. It's the thinnest thing ever. But let's get the other one open and do a comparison. All right, here is our multi-layer steel gasket. Get this bad boy out. Whoa, it does not slide out of there. It is stuck on the plastic. All right, here we go. Got the multi-layer open. Of course, you can tell right now that it's a lot thicker. And when they say multi-layer, you can clearly see there are multiple layers of steel. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of steel. All right, you see that? So that is why they call this a multi-layer gasket. Now, if you see, it's held together by these little rivets. And there are 4 of those. Right? So, multiple layers of steel held together. Multi-layer steel head gasket, of course. And you see it pretty much looks the same. I would say that the steel on this one, is almost as thick as this single layer steel gasket. So the steel on this is almost the same as one layer of this. Now, there are thicker layers in the middle. So let's take a look at those. Which way does this go? This should probably go like this. So in the middle, this layer of steel right here is actually thicker than this layer of steel. So that's interesting by itself, is that this one is thinner, then there's this thick one in the middle, this right here, there's two of those, and then there's another thin one on the bottom. So this is to OEM spec on the turbo motor. This is OEM spec on the NA motor, GE, GTE. So that in itself is interesting, just the thickness of the steel. Now I know that you can get these in different thicknesses and even, you know, thinner if you want, because people want to change compression ratio and things like that. But for what I need, this is actually the right gasket. So I don't know. I think it's pretty cool that they have, you know, different options. But this is the one I need right here. This is it, folks. If anybody needs this single layer gasket, let me know in the comments, and I'll send it to you, because I don't need it. But yeah, man. So last thing, I'm gonna do a couple more comparisons for you, and then we're gonna get all these parts down there to the builder, and then get it in the truck, because we gotta go fast, man. Trying to go fast. Holla.